Reliving the Extreme.
My name is Bubba Ray Dudley.
I don't need a weapon. My hands are my weapons.
Happy Ramahana Kwanzmas, everyone, and welcome to Reliving the Extreme. Nate Maxson here with you, along with, of course, my brother Aaron.
Hello, everybody.
And Senior Chad Austin.
Aloha. Well, not aloha. A rebate. Isn't it a rebate? A rebate.
A rebate? You get a rebate?
I don't know. I mean, I had no idea. Check the platform that we're on.
Whatever.
If you're paying for this show.
Whatever you celebrate, we want to wish you a happy holiday this week and thank you for making Reliving the Extreme a part of that and listening to the show as we, of course, are recapping the history of ECW from the beginning to the end. And last week we didn't have a show because I was a pussy and got sick and couldn't do it. So sorry, everybody.
But the itis.
Got the itis. Whatever itis it might have been, I had it's pretty strong. But this week, we're going to do the show we were going to do last week, May 24th, 1994, the episode of ECW. And like Chad said, we've probably mostly forgotten the show. We only have our notes to go on. But that is what it is. And anything you guys want to discuss before we get into the show this week?
For me, it's just that I can't wait for ECW to get into a stride where it's just not recap championship wrestling. It's been a recurring thing just week in and week out. Am I wrong?
No. And you see these little moments where you're like, oh, this is it. This is it. This is the moment. And then it's like, nope, sorry.
You're right back to Ivan Koloff and Vladimir Koloff. They're like, they've been there in months. The hell?
Aaron, any thoughts before we get started here?
Just kind of the same thing Chad said, but I mean, like you said, there's little glimmers. You're like, oh, it's like you start seeing like the little nucleuses of what they're doing. Like we're seeing like they're starting to figure out what they want to do with Mikey and just fleshing things out and things like that. And I was looking ahead at some of the descriptions of some of the shows coming up, and I think we're getting into a good part of ECW, like the good stuff is coming up. So stick
you
with
would
it.
think, right? It looks that way.
We can only hope.
I just don't want it to get too good because I still want to be able to make fun.
No, it's as loud. Oh, I'm sorry. I had an audio problem here.
Aaron just said he doesn't want it to get too good because he might not have anything to joke about. But you know what? You can take any wrestling show, no matter what it is, no matter how good it was. In that hour, there's going to be something to make fun of, at least. Somebody's hair or something.
Some dumpy motherfucker. Somebody.
Well, I mean, can't be the Wolfman then. His tattoo hairdo. I don't think him or Sir Christopher Michaels work there anymore.
I haven't seen Christopher Michaels in a long ass time, and we're hoping that Hunter Q is gone too. We're finally, hopefully, done with that cat. But this week's show, of course, like I said, May 24th, 1994, we are coming out of the When Worlds Collide event that we discussed on the last show, and we are coming out of, like I said, of the When Worlds Collide show that we reviewed last time, and that show is we talk about that show is halfway decent. Now that they have a recap here of Mikey winning the TV title from the Pitbull with Sully on commentary, and I thought it was weird that Joey wasn't on this show. And you can take dirt sheets for what they are, but I went back into the archives of the Torch, and apparently, according to the Torch, and that is again, did you take it for what it's worth? At this time, Joey had left ECW.
Why? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it didn't say. And like I said, that could have been.
Oh, it could have been. Oh, I'm sorry. Could it have been because of the new job?
Maybe. Yeah.
Like you said, there wasn't any explanation given.
No, that's why I said it could have just been conjecture on Wade Keller's part, too. He might just be speculating. But I did find it odd that Joey wasn't on this show.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this was in conjunction with this show or another incident but I do remember Joey going around and saying his goodbyes to everybody because he was starting a new job that was going to be like upstate Connecticut. And he was going to be taking the train every day from New York to Connecticut. And it was like some kind of an insurance job or something like that. Like, I do remember that, but I don't remember if it was this time frame. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I do remember Joey telling everybody that he's leaving, but I just don't know whether it was here or not.
This is followed by Jay Sully. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They try to say it's a recap from last week, but it's not a recap from last week. It's a recap from the night before the show you watched 2 weeks ago.
But it's still probably a recap from last week, right?
So how did you say we're recapping the recap from last week? Don't try to say what happened.
Is it all just a recap from a week ago?
This is from last week, from the night before the show we showed you 2 weeks ago.
Oh, come on. During that day at lunch, I mean, it's all just a recap.
Let's do the time warp again.
I mean, if you're not going to send a Tahitian prince out there, then why bother?
It's one of my favorite things to do is when they try to say, "Oh, this happened last week." I'm like, no. I like to look at my little notebook and be like, nope. This is from last week, the week before, 2 weeks ago.
Is that? Yeah. About a month ago, we showed you what happened 2 weeks ago, but we replayed it last week to show you what happened 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this where they showed like the weird rewind thing to show what happened during the break with Sullivan and Mikey and all?
Well,
that comes up during the match. Before we get to that, our favorite guy, Jay Sully, does an interview with Mikey talking about winning the TV title. And of course, Mikey does the "Mom, I did it" line, and he is all in Mikey Whipwreck here, one of my favorite characters in ECW. And as Chad said, he's going to be in his first title defense here against Kevin Sullivan. Now, who's this commentator? Oh, go ahead.
You don't know who the commentator is?
I do not.
Willie Scoops Watts.
It is?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah. Remember, like a long, long time ago, Willie Scoops Watts, and we deciphered that he is Bill Watts' black illegitimate son?
Yes.
That's him.
On the version I watched, or because I rewound it a couple times, but the music that they dubbed over was so loud that when he introduced himself, I didn't catch his name, so I had no idea who it was doing this.
It's
Billy Scoops Watts.
It's Bill Watts Jr. with Paul Heyman doing the comedy.
Bill Watts has an illegitimate black kid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's believable.
He went to the Atlanta territory.
He might have a whole bunch of them out back. I don't know Bill Watts. I ain't never met the dude, but doesn't sound like he's a fair weather racial guy. I mean, maybe a little biased.
He did spend a lot of time in Louisiana.
And it's not really him, but there's no way that Paul Heyman didn't make that as a joke. I mean, he named him Willie Scoop Watts. Yeah. It's Bill Watts.
Yeah. The match is Kevin Sullivan and Mikey Whipwreck for the TV title. Like Chad said, during this match, in the middle of it, they go to a commercial break and they do like the rewind effect to show you what happened during the commercial.
Right before they rewind it, though, they come back from the break and Kevin Sullivan is beating Mikey Whipwreck with a Barney doll. The purple dinosaur Barney, he's beating him with that. And this is another question. Do you think Kevin Sullivan really weighed 307 pounds? That's what they introduced him as.
Was he carrying a Barney doll?
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
Weighing in at 307 pounds, Kevin.
Was that Barney doll full of rocks and wet? You don't know, Aaron. Come on.
I questioned that. I was like, I don't know if I.
What is 5 foot? Who is 5'5" and weighs 307 pounds?
Nobody mobile.
Of course.
like if he came out in like a Mark cart to the ring.
I was just about to say that if he came out on a Walmart motor scooter thing,
I'd believe it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
on an oxygen tank, I'd believe that he's 307 pounds
with the little basket in the front.
Yeah,
with some bath salts
and Werther's. I'd believe it, but no,
Werther's.
He ain't 307 pounds.
Jeez, Louise. Pork rinds. Kevin Sullivan and his pork rinds. I could just see that.
Put him in the evil basket. Put him in the evil basket.
Good God.
Well, he proceeds to pretty much beat the shit out of Mikey during this match.
And that thing they rewound it for, that devastating thing they rewound it for, was that powerbomb on the concrete, and it looked like shit. It wasn't even that devastating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great, but, what are you going to do?
He's throwing chairs at Mikey during this match. And like I said, just essentially just Sullivan beating up Mikey. He gets him in the Tree of Woe, and Sullivan gets disqualified during this match. So Mikey, of course, retains the TV title. That's really all the notes I had on it. It didn't, whatever. It was a showcase of Mikey being an underdog, obviously. And this is how you're kind of seeing the formula of how his matches and his title reign's going to go, establishing that character.
Well, yeah, because, Sullivan's not long for this company, right? At this point.
Right.
So why not get the rub to Mikey
on
the way out? I'm sure Sullivan is more than happy to do it. He's not like more than likely going to just flat out lose, but he'll get Mikey over.
Yeah, and it does. Like I said, it gets over what Mikey's character is, and then if there's nothing else on that, Aaron.
Just that Bill Watts Jr. does a terrible job. Like he's trying to be Joey Styles, and it's like akin to when Corey Macklin was trying to use his Lance Russell voice. Like don't try to copy somebody that's good at their job when you're not even good at it to begin with.
Oh, don't make fun of Corey Macklin.
I'm just saying, like Corey Macklin.
Oh, I know what you're trying to say, and I'm saying, oh no, the king. Don't be shucking and jiving on my Corey Macklin. The king, Jerry Lawler. Everybody, he's my favorite, dude. I could sit around with somebody that's a wrestling fan and that knows about good shit like that, and just do Corey Macklin stuff all day long. Good day, everybody. Jam packed arena here today. Yeah.
We got 17 in attendance.
Yeah, Corey Macklin's the best. Well, enough about Corey Macklin. We can do a whole other show about him.
Then we roll into a promo from ECW champion Shane Douglas here, and essentially it's just the I'll take on anybody type promo. I don't know. Did you guys have any notes on the promo itself at all? Because I don't.
I don't even have any notes that it existed. I don't know. My next thing is Public Enemy.
I don't really. It was a promo. It is what it was. But I think it's the first time he started. He didn't use names yet, but I think this is the first time he started calling out other companies as being a better champion than them. But yeah, obviously he's going to go further with it with the Dick Flair stuff and everything like that. But He did mention Flair at his promo on When Worlds Collide, so you're definitely right. He's starting his shtick here with the like you said, the Dick Flair, and calling out Flair and the other champions from the other companies. And for his gimmick in this company, that works.
Well, Shane was doing that well before the televised shows. Mm-hmm. He was doing it not only on the house shows, but he was doing it on anybody who would listen, newsletter, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. He already planted this seed a long time ago. And I just don't think that it sprouted to be what he thought it was going to be.
Right.
That's probably no fault of his.
I was going to ask you guys this a couple of weeks ago, and then we got deeper into another conversation about something, and I never did. And you could tell me if I'm off base or whatever, or it's a stupid question, but do you think if you watch Hunter, Hurst Helmsley, Triple H, when he started the game gimmick in 99, I think it was, and maybe that run from 99 till at least 2001, do you think he lifted Shane's gimmick? Do you think the game is essentially the franchise?
In a vacuum, yeah. They're all going to go back to originate from something, but right. He may have taken something from that, right?
Yeah, I just that first 2 years where he breaks away from DX and he's doing the game deal before it gets really, I don't know. Anyway, after WrestleMania 17, but that first 2 years, that's what it felt like to me. It was I don't know if it was inspired by or lifted from or whatever, but I just see a lot of the Shane Douglas isms and stuff from being the franchise and Triple H at that time. And I know that takes us completely out of, like I said, silly question off topic, but it was something I thought about a couple of weeks ago watching Shane cut a promo on this show, and I was going to bring it up then, and I just forgot to.
You just forgot.
Yep.
So you decided to bring it up on this show that you just forgot.
Very randomly, yeah.
Very, very much so. Like the Miss Lovely Jess was out Christmas shopping the other day, and she passed by the store where I get my blank DVDs at, and then she decided to call me and tell me that she's passing the store where I get my blank DVDs at, but she doesn't feel like stopping in and getting them, even though I never asked her to get them for me.
She just wanted to let you know that she wasn't going to. Yeah.
She didn't feel like stopping and getting them for me. So
you know that thing you didn't ask me to do, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I know what it's like to be disappointed. How dare you not get me something that you never were sent to get me to begin with?
Like, I woke up this morning not disappointed.
Yes.
And then I didn't even know that I was going to be disappointed about the thing I didn't even know I was not going to get.
Believe me, she's heard about it for the last 3 days.
And you did this 2 weeks ago, but it was actually a week ago and a month.
Yes. And then in two Sundays, it'll be a season.
And we're going to talk about it again here on Cap Championship Wrestling. Yeah. Well, now we get just a myriad of videos featuring stars of ECW. There's a video for Mr. Hughes, the Public Enemy, Terry Funk, which I wrote down. It sounds like it's set to an 80s sitcom theme.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote down. I wrote that down. I said Terry Funk's WWE cock music sounds like an 80s sitcom theme of a show called The Golden Family.
Yeah.
like the dad and the kid are like throwing the football, and it's like starring like Keith Michelson, and he's like some fucking 80s dad, and like little Tommy Jenkins, and he's like catching the football.
Lyle Alzado.
Yeah. Tune in this Friday when Balky shows up.
Yeah.
Gary Coleman.
Gordon jump. Plays the grandpa. It's like that's what it sounded like. It was
and -1 as the Beaver.
So yeah, I'm glad we're all on the same page with that. Terrible Terry Funk music there, or not Terry Funk music. You know what I mean. We got a video for the Bruise Brothers and a video for Tommy Dreamer in this
His sounded like shitty Mortal Kombat fighting scene music. You're playing Mortal Kombat on Sega. That's what Tommy sounded like. He's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Tommy's awful.
Get over here.
I don't get it with Tommy. I don't get it. I don't have a personal problem with Tommy. I actually like Tommy, and I guess we're friends. But I have a bunch of friends that I've seen be successful, on certain various levels that I just look at them and go, how? Like James Ellsworth, what? How did this happen? Is this where Paulie comes back with the promo where he has the mustache and the goatee?
Yeah.
What the hell is going on there?
I don't know.
He's running from
Heyman's on the lam. Yeah.
The hell's going on there?
Yes, but yes, that is what this is. Paulie is doing a promo, and he's talking about two separate events here. An event on the 3rd of June, which is going to feature Sabu versus Too Cold Scorpio, which I hope we get to see that match. And then
we do.
It's
on the next show.
Oh, sweet. Okay. And then talking about the Funk Brothers against the Public Enemy on June the 24th coming up. Any other notes here on the promo, Aaron?
Just the fact I thought it was kind of cool when he was like talking about how other promotions have to hype you up and tell you all this glitz glamour and all this other stuff, but all I have to tell you is that on June 3rd or whatever, June 3rd, Too Cold Scorpios fighting Sabu. I don't need to hype it any more than that.
That to me goes back to his promo in I Like to Hurt People. Remember that? Where Funk said, if I could guarantee you that on Friday night,
yeah,
at Cobo Hall, that somebody's, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Whatever that promo was that he cut in I Like to Hurt People, that's the same thing he's saying, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's essentially you don't need to know anything else that's on this card because you're going to want to come for this. Everything else. I mean, we're gonna have some other bells and whistles, but this is all you really need to come for because it's going to satisfy. Yes,
right. That makes sense. Yeah, I can
point.
see that because doesn't doesn't it look? I don't know if this was the idea or anything like that, but doesn't it look better that if you do like a major show and you only really announce one match,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then you get 1,000 people there, and then you have a whole entire show afterwards. You know what I mean? Like before it, like
Well, yeah,
really
and then
didn't
you
advertise all this stuff, but you're going to get it anyway.
and then you don't run the risk of announcing something terrible and somebody going, ugh. I don't even know.
And somebody knows showing.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was gonna say. You don't run the risk of saying, "Oh, so and so is going to be here too," and then they just say "fuck it" and don't show up. As long as you get Sabu and Too Cold in the door, and everything else is filler, all you got to do is say, "Look, we produced what we have. All we promised you was Sabu versus Too Cold Scorpio, and you got it." So,
Yeah, and believe me, we're getting into that period where there's starting to be more and more no shows, and people walking out and cards subject to change, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we saw it when Worlds Collide with Road Warrior Hawk. I got shit.
Right?
And then we get a promo from Terry Funk on, it's essentially the Who We Are promo. He's talking about him and Dory, the Funks, who are going to be facing Public Enemy on the 24th of June. So no Dory Funk yet, though. It's just Terry doing this promo.
Because Dory's still back on the ranch doing all the goddamn work that Marty's making him do. He's packing the fucking envelopes, signing the pictures. You know how long it takes him to sign a picture?
I gotta go to Philly.
Yeah, I put in my notes. I was like, "There's no Dory Funk on the show," but you'd think they would have showed some like exciting footage of him. Oh yeah, never mind.
Well, because that camera hasn't been invented yet.
Yeah, there isn't any exciting footage of him.
I mean, where are they going to look for that at?
Cave drawings. Here's Dory Funk chucking a spear into Gene Kiniski in front of a fire.
And he's got like the little fucking like a jockey thing with it's like a loincloth.
Yes, sir. We promised you a great main event here tonight. Yeah,
like he's literally he's one of the two guys you see in the opening of any WWE show where it's black and white and the guy gives the guy a belly to back.
Yeah.
Like one of them's Dory Funk.
He didn't just invent the fireball; he invented fire.
Yeah, he wrestled in Comiskey Park before there was a city called Comiskey. I've been there. Or he thinks he has.
Wrestled Dan Shockett there for an hour and 47 minutes.
Remember Ben Hur? I did a Broadway with him. I think it was Tampa. Seriously, I probably wouldn't even watch a shoot interview with Dory if one came out. I probably wouldn't watch it until well after he was dead. I mean that in a good way because I don't want to remember Dory in any other way than I have met him. You know, I had breakfast with him and his beautiful wife, and that weekend that he was there and stuff, and great guy. But I'm like, this guy has no idea what's going on, or if he does, he's working everybody. Because he looks like, he acts like, he sounds like he doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
And I always say, I'm sure for people in that day, watching him in that moment when that was the kind of wrestling that there was, I'm not discounting anything that Dory Funk ever did in the business, but just not my cup of tea. His style of wrestling, not my cup of tea.
To me, it kind of depended on what territory it was in.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gonna show me him in Toronto against I don't know who that dude was, Kiniski or whatever, that's not gonna happen. But anything with him and Terry in Japan,
one of the weirdest combos ever was when they had him paired up with Kevin Sullivan. I think was that Mid Atlantic.
No, I think wasn't that Florida?
Or maybe it was Florida, but yeah, it was like, what? Dory Funk and Kevin Sullivan? That does not fit.
Dude, I swear to God, there is a promo of Kevin Sullivan cutting a promo at the desk with Gordon Soley, and Dory Funk has his hands on the back of Kevin Sullivan's neck. Mm-hmm. Because I believe when that promo was over, Dory Funk had to wait for Kevin Sullivan to get up to direct him to where to go. Like it was almost like he was blind, and and that was his help. I mean, I don't mean that in a bad way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like he was just standing there with his arms on Sullivan's shoulders, and it's just like, this guy looks like he doesn't have any idea where he's going. Like when this thing's over. So he's got like his little partner there, and I don't mean that literally.
Lead me to catering. Yeah.
Oh, poor Dory.
Well, up next here on this show, the star of our show, Mr. Chad Austin.
Oh, I thought it was
in action against, as you said, Keith Shearer, and we get a standing ovation for Chad here in the ECW arena.
Well, I mean, it depends on not from everybody, but there was people standing. I think, wasn't there?
They bill you from Evansville, Indiana. Here,
yeah, don't ask me why. That's a Jeff Osborne thing. Like, I started that shit like in 1990, I don't know, 1 or 92, when I went to work for Jeff Osborne.
Mm-hmm.
I worked him one time, and I went out to Evansville, and I just started announcing myself from Evansville, Indiana. Or even if I didn't, I think word just kind of caught on. And I'm just thinking, like, why am I from Evansville, Indiana?
I'm from the Memphis territory?
Yeah, I mean, I only work on Wednesday nights. Yeah, I don't understand, but, it doesn't matter.
They discussed during this match, I know nothing about Keith pinning Jake Roberts, but they really, really put over that Keith pinned Jake Roberts.
Yeah, in this entire match, they talk about a match that they never even showed.
Well, I mean, it's better than talking about me against Keith Shearer. Did you guys notice the shirt that I was wearing when I walked into the ring? Oh, come on, please tell me.
Aaron? No, you're usually the details guy.
Well, I'm not going to wait because we're just killing time. It was a job that at a pizza place that I used to deliver pizzas for in a tourist town down here in Ocean City, Maryland, called Pizza To Go. I don't have any idea why I decided to wear it. Maybe because it was cold. When I came out and I saw you wearing it, I was going, "What the fuck am I doing? Why am I wearing a Pizza To Go shirt? I'm 2 hours away from anywhere that they're going to deliver to."
You should have went back and asked for a little sponsorship money. Look, I know it's 2 hours away. Yeah, no, look, I know it's 2 hours away, but I wore your shirt on TV.
You're kind of on national TV. You're seen in like 840 homes each week.
It's called the Sports Channel, damn it.
Yeah. Who was the better worker, Keith or Kyle? Did you ever work Kyle?
They were the same person.
I know.
The only person that didn't know that was everybody that worked there. I kind of knew it when I walked into Keith and I asked what Kyle was, and he says, "There ain't no Kyle." Oh, okay. Well, who do I go to? Me. I'm fucking Keith and Kyle. They are both equally the shits. How about that?
Fair enough. And because I think they keep pushing this Keith pinning Jake Roberts thing, obviously because they want to build this, or when they talk about the match, they want to talk about it as a battle of the upset kids here, which Chad does win this matchup. And I mean, do you even have any memories? Like, really, I mean, you said he was the shits, but any other memories of this dude?
No, I don't think he was like legitimately like the shits, like he couldn't do anything.
Mm.
I don't mean that at all. It's just that I just felt kind of bad for him that he was in the position where he had to kind of like put me over, but I was not in the role where I should have been, like not going over, but not getting so much offense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I should have been winning these matches by act. I should have been getting my ass kicked. I should have been getting beat down, getting heat put on me, and then I pulled out. But if that's not how the match was booked, then that's not how the guy wanted it to go. So, ain't nothing I can do about it. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like to me like I kind of ate. I don't want to say I ate him up, but I'm going to say it was easily 70-30, 80-20.
Well, yeah, I mean anything you could point to as a highlight from the match was to your favor, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And the match probably went longer than it aired, but he was a good dude. I had no problem with him.
Well, following the match,
Kyle, what happened? You cut me off?
No, your thing just stopped.
Oh, because I was making fun of Kyle Shearer?
It must have been.
Fucking Kyle Shearer. What a donkey.
Out of the two of them, he was the worst, right?
Easily, yeah.
Well, they're talking about here that Shane Douglas is going to face Chad Austin next week. And I think it's Paulie who says, "Hey, you never know." Chad
But if
Austin
I'm going to
could
show
go-
up, because I never got booked for these shows. Like, why? I mean, that's part of the reason why I got, I guess, quote unquote, fired, because I did shows that I was booked for, that I was getting guaranteed money for, and I wasn't an ECW show that I might drive 2.5 hours for and possibly not work.
Right.
So it's like, I know I'm only going to the shows that I don't have anything else to do on that night.
Okay, so that begs the question. So essentially, Paulie never said, "Chad, be here on this night." You just went to the show, and if he wanted to use you, he used you.
Yeah, the only time that didn't happen, it was when I worked with Sabu, Benoit, and Rebel on the same taping where I turned heel and introduced Jason as my manager. That was a clusterfuck. I mean, I don't know if we've already gotten into this on other platforms of your podcast forum, but yeah, that was I didn't even know there was a show, and I was vacationing, and I called my grandmother, and she told me that some guy named Paul's been calling here all day long. I'm supposed to be in Philadelphia, and I'm just like, what? I don't know.
She's like, "There's a guy named Matty in the house right now, sitting in front of me."
Matty's out front of the house, and all he's doing is yelling on the phone. This old bitch won't let me in.
Sorry, not sorry.
Either that or Paul's calling your house and it's like, Chad's pretending to be his grandma. Pretending to be somebody else on the phone. That's
yeah, like the mystery house guest.
That's my
I love the mystery house guest. Is Paul there? Who's calling? Chad? No. This sounds like Paul. Well, it's not. And it's like, okay, well, can you just tell Paul that Chad called? I certainly will. All right, Paul. See you later. Bye, Chad.
Everybody knows who everybody works for here. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who he thought he was kidding.
Well, after the Chad Austin match, we get a promo from Shane Douglas and Mr. Hughes. Cool little, thing here with Hughes kind of being Shane Douglas's muscle.
That's it.
I like Mr. Hughes. I
like Mr. Hughes too, but I think that ECW and Paul were the best people to get something out of him. Like you know what I mean? Like WWF,
yeah.
he's kind of lame in the WWF. WCW he was cool in WCW as like the bodyguard person or whatever, but as like a integral character of the show, Paul did a better job with him than anybody else.
Well, that's when he started fucking up. Like, he was already labeled as a problem coming into ECW from the other companies. The other companies couldn't keep him clean.
Okay.
So I mean, it was like,
I didn't know he had.
Potential.
I didn't know he had those issues. I always thought he just had a bigger ego than what he deserved to have.
Oh, he had a big something, and it was an appetite for the white shit. And he just couldn't, like, anywhere he went. Like, I must have ended up working in 3 different places around this time where he was at, and if he was scheduled for, just say, to do 3 shows for somebody, Tyler, my buddy Tyler in West Virginia, he might do the first one, but he ain't showing up for the second and the third one.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to ask you for that money in advance. So it doesn't take long to burn, to burn them bridges before you're not getting booked by anybody.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, he didn't benefit himself at this point by whatever the fuck shit he had going on, which I never saw it or any of that shit. Well, actually, I kind of did, but it wasn't working for ECW.
Like I said, I didn't know about any of that. I always just assumed he, thought he was better than he actually was, and like tried to big dog things, and he had no right to be big dogging. That's what I always figured was his deal.
But tell me that dude didn't have a great elbow drop though.
Yeah, well, and we've talked about it before. Like, for his size in the ring, he was actually pretty damn good. And probably, well, now that go ahead, Aaron.
I just say for a big dude, he had a good drop kick, and I liked his look and all that. But yeah, I don't hate Mr. Hughes.
You really? All right, yeah. That's good. That's good to hear. I don't hate Mr. Hughes.
I'm sure he'll be happy to hear that.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to hear it. Somebody's going to tag him.
Like, we know you've been up at night worrying, but don't anymore.
I heard Aaron Maxson don't hate me. I'm good now.
I'm good.
I can go. I can pass on peacefully.
Big cat can go. Like, you're not the big cat anymore. You're Mr. Hughes. Oh, cool.
Just call me Curtis.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, well, we move on here. An 8-man tag team match is next. It is billed as Mr. Hughes, Shane Douglas, and the Public Enemy against Terry Funk, the Bruise Brothers, and Tommy Dreamer. And the Public Enemy here, they call out Todd Gordon. Todd Gordon comes out and says that Terry Funk can't compete. He's just been served papers. And because this was almost 2 weeks ago when I watched this, bad me as a host, I didn't write down why he was served papers.
I don't think they even said it.
Okay, then maybe I didn't write it down because it didn't happen. All right, then I don't feel so bad.
I think he was served papers where he wasn't allowed to go.
The public
Was it near the arena or near?
How I took it was that the Public Enemy got a lawyer through Paul Heyman, because now they're working for Paul, and Paul got them to get a lawyer, and the lawyer got a restraining order on Terry Funk for the Public Enemy, so Terry Funk can't be around the Public Enemy.
Well, I'm sure Terry Funk didn't want to be around the Public Enemy, except at breakfast time.
So essentially what they're doing is the Terry Funk can't touch the Public Enemy until their match or whatever with him and Dory and Public Enemy. It was really ill.
Yeah, it sounds like it was riveting.
Yeah, I mean, if you got to try to think about it, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, right? I mean, you got to put that much emphasis in trying to figure out how to explain it, then oof.
Yeah, it was just, and it was how do I want to say it?
Awful?
Yeah, awful. It was delivered terrible. There was no explanation. Todd did a good job or a bad job trying to explain it, and it's like, if your story is so absurd that your fans got to figure out what the fuck's going on, it's not a good thing in wrestling.
Dude, the best part of what's coming up is my notes, because there is nothing at all written about what is going on. It's just me shitting on the whole one. It's like 4 lines of my note paper of me just shitting on what the fuck's going on.
Let me surmise here real quick before you get into that. Essentially, after Terry's told he can't wrestle, they show him in the back with Mikey Whipwreck and JT Smith, and he tells JT to head out to the ring. JT now enters the match with his hurt knee, and then I'll let you continue from there, Chad, but I just wanted to get that on the table first.
Well, I mean, it was a complete fucking mess. I don't know what was going on. I said it was a big brawl that nobody cared about. Now I'm lost. Parking lot brawl. like I don't, at this point, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know who I'm supposed to be featured on, or you know what I mean? Who are they featuring here?
It feels like they're trying to feature JT Smith.
JT, right?
But
you would think. Okay.
Yeah. But they're essentially doing the same angle or whatever you want to call it with the knee that they did in the 8-man tag match at When Worlds Collide. So that's repetitive. And yeah, but it feels like it's supposed to be a feature for JT to me. But like you said, there's so much going on. And you don't know what's supposed to be going down here.
It almost feels to me like Paulie was putting his toe in the water with JT here, because he wasn't sure what he had, kind of thing. So he may have said, like, let me give him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Let me see.
Let me ask this question.
Later on, when he becomes the Saban man, and you don't know what the fuck he's saying when he's in the FBI. I don't know what the fuck happened to him there.
So should the episode? Okay, you think about the beginning of this episode. The beginning of the episode is Mikey Whipwreck and Kevin Sullivan, and then we have Chad and Shira, and then we have JT. So should the name of this episode be Underdog Overdose or Overkill? Because there's so many underdog stories going on here in this 1 hour of wrestling.
Underdog, undercare. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I see your point, because it's totally non outsider heavy, right? Mm-hmm. It's all local talent heavy, correct? I mean,
mostly
besides a little bit of the Funk stuff, but Funk's a main guy, but me, Mikey, Pitbull, guys like that we're all regulars, local guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make that point. You can say that. You can make it the name of the show.
Aaron, any thoughts here on this this main event?
It was lame. Like I said, like the beginning of it made no sense. Todd did a terrible job trying to explain it, and
oh, good lord,
it was bad. Like it brought like the show itself wasn't terrible, but this kind of just brought it to like a screeching halt. It was like, this show might be okay. This show might be okay. Like, oh, we're driving down the street, we're all right. We're all right. And then all of a sudden, the garbage truck in front of you just breaks. You don't know it. You just
next thing you know, you got trash all over your car and
banana
public
peel over
enemy
your head.
music hits.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah. At some point during a lot of that mess with JT and Funk, I just got completely lost, and I was just like, I don't care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it seems like it's just not going anywhere that I want to see it go, and I don't understand why they keep pursuing it. Like, what's the big deal of trying to rub JT with Funk? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
and
they really seem like they're trying hard as shit, and it's like nobody cares.
And this is going to be the reason that it is such an amazing thing or a great thing that we're going to start seeing stars like Too Cold Scorpio or Chris Benoit or Dean Malenko to replace silly things like this. Or treading water, essentially, is I think the gist you were trying to get at, Chad. You're just treading water with this thing. It's not, like you said, it's not going anywhere.
Yep, we're just staying afloat until we can get the next round of talent in here.
Mm-hmm.
And get rid of the other guys. Rebel. You're going to see less of Rebel. What? Less of Stetson. We're seeing less of them guys already, right?
Yeah.
So now they're not make room on the payroll roster, which I can't understand how Hot Body and Stetson are anywhere near in the same payroll roster as some of the guys they're going to bring in. But whatever.
Aaron, you look like you might have had a thought.
Mikey should never let himself. Well, I don't think he ever did again, but Mikey should never let himself appear on camera without a shirt. When they were sitting downstairs in that unfinished basement, wherever Terry Funk went and found JT and Mikey, it was just the whole thing was stupid.
He's got such a talented chest, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well, the last thing we see here on this show is a promo from Sandman and Woman. There's going to be a cane on a pole match between Sandman and Tommy Cairo. And I don't have my notes aren't good on this promo. So, Aaron, what did you have written down here?
It was just a basic Sandman Woman promo talking about a feud that is kind of running its course a little bit.
For some reason, I wrote down the name Crazy Eddie, but I don't remember why I wrote down Crazy Eddie. I have no idea. He must have mentioned Crazy Eddie in this promo.
I don't know, but I guarantee that if Miss Peaches calls the cops again about Tommy Cairo, they're going to stop responding to her calls. we can't keep coming out here for all these calls every single week. Isn't your boyfriend and your other guy, aren't they wrestlers? Can't they just take care of it in the ring? Why they got to keep calling us out here for these domestic disputes?
Just do it in the ring. Put a cane on a pole and settle this thing.
Every time she calls, you're like, oh, another bad produce run. Got a bruised peach. Peaches is bruised again.
And pretty much. And then I'm going to drop off my husband so he can hang some tents. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't think he knows what the hell that is.
Still got his big ass
surfer, I'll have you know.
Well,
and
that is that.
I can tell you he ain't never been on that goddamn surfboard.
He didn't even know how to use it as a weapon. I mean, granted, it was abnormally large, but still. Well, that is it for May 24th, 1994's edition of ECW. And let's give it a grade. Let's give it a rating. What do you guys think overall? I said we went kind of backwards on this show a little.
I can't go any more backwards on these shows that I'm going. Next thing you know, I'm gonna start giving them numbers. I'm running out of letters.
You want to call it you want to call it Underdog Overload or whatever. I want to call it Underdog Underwhelming. This is just an underwhelming fucking blah show that had a couple okay matches on it, and then it just ended. Like I said, it just ended abruptly. It's just a trash-filled match that I didn't. This show is like I didn't feel anything about it. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
you know what's going to be. Hang on, Aaron. You know what's going to be great next week is that if we start to see like a new set of matches from a new taping, because then we'll know why this show was so bad, right? Because it's probably because it's what's left, right?
It's the leftovers, yeah.
So I mean, then you won't be me clearly too. We won't be so judgmental about it once we realize, well, that's all they fucking had, you know. But
and also, I think it's also a testament to Joey. You know what I mean? Like having Joey on the show makes it more palatable because he's good on commentating. He's good on explaining things.
Mm-hmm.
Like he probably would have been Johnny on the spot, being able to explain what the fuck Todd Gordon was talking about. But Bill Watts Jr., he's a fucking clown. He doesn't fucking know how to put the sentence
Bill Watts Jr.
So he's just fucking, I don't know what they're talking about. Like Joey would have been able to figure something out. You know what I mean? I just think it was, like I said, it's a testament to Joey. We need Joey back. He's only been gone a week and I already want him back.
He's only been gone a week.
He'll be back shortly.
Well, I'm sure he'll be back.
Well, that being said, like I said,
did anybody send us any questions?
No, send us questions. relivingtheextreme@gmail.com. Or you can personally message them to me on Facebook. That's fine too. And so I guess we'll do our wrap up here. If you guys have anything else you want to say, or anything you want to plug, or anything you want to talk about before we head off into Ramahana Kwanzmas.
No, I just want to say that I want to go to bed. I got my Helix mattress here, and it's all loaded up, and I got to work in about 6 hours, and I am beat.
Well, we are going to let Mr. Austin go to bed, and we're going to put this show to bed. And please do join us on our Facebook group, the Reliving the Extreme. You just type that in the Facebook search, and we have had a few members the past couple of weeks, so please join us there. Check out any other of the podcasts that are available on the WrestleNet Radio Podcast Network as well. Join that Facebook group and the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook group. Too many Facebook groups, I guess. But
hey, the We Can't Wrestle thing's pretty decent. I listen to that shit a lot.
I want to do another one of those pro wrestling.
I just said I listen to it a lot.
You listen to it a lot. When I want to hear something that I don't like, I listen to that one.
Believe me, I drive a couple hours like each way for delivery and shit, so I got time to kill.
Aaron, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And thank you for joining us, everybody. And we will see you next week as we continue reliving the extreme. Have a great week.